Welcome for more Mario Kart Tour content, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's video, I'll be playing the Ranked Cup for the Animal Tour. We'll take a look at the latest coverage information through the Coverage Optimizer tool and give a run through as many of the DK Mountain and Riverside parks as we can. If that sounds good with all of you, please show your support with the channel by leaving a like on this video and subscribing. Thank you so much for that support. All right, let's get into the tour here. Amazing, right? They ended up giving us 2 new retro courses. This would be the all-time best tour if there was a little bit of love given to the characters, right? Oh, look, folks, we've been on this for a long time. There's a lot that I could say, and I know some of you in the audience might be turning to me to see, what are the thoughts here on this? And quite frankly, there's nothing more that can be said at this point, right? And it's just a case where we're all invited to the party and intern 4 isn't, right? So for whatever reason, Nintendo doesn't want to go there with representation of certain characters, and we're not going to have any idle speculation as to what that's about, and we're just going to enjoy the tour through the context of what they are giving. And if they want to lose out on a market and a franchise in Donkey Kong that has sold over 80 million software units, then that's their loss, right? Anyway, this is for the second week of the Autumn Tour. All right. Now we're moving on to the brand new tour. All right, let's dive right into that ranked mode. First, let's see how the pairings are going. They do have a little bit of a throttle going on there. We see that there's an 11K gap, but the scores look very fair overall. Given the kind of courses that are in play, if you're in the top 3, you'll gain access to this brand new Moo Me racing suit. Look at that, starting value is 7. That's actually quite good for a Me racing suit. Look at that. Mushroom Cannon, not such a great skill, and then they're reintroducing a light blue Shy Guy here, which is a super driver. Does not have anywhere near the kind of value that we saw with Yellow Pit Crew Toad and some of the other ones that are available there. And they're continuing on with the same reward structure as they had been recently, with the minor exception being of that for the error for some players who were finishing in 3rd and 4th place between tiers 40 and 49, which the devs already provided notification on. And hopefully those of you that were affected received gifts for compensation in that regard. All right, let's go into DK Mountain, and we see they did take care of the little guy here, DK Jr. They're going to give the representation, which is nice to see. We'll be talking about DK Jr. at length when we open up the Coverage Optimizer tool. Other options here, we have 3 Me Racing suits, and we have a pair of Coinbox drivers there, as well as the Cat Luigi and the Tanuki Mario. And for karts, we have the Red Vampire Flyer, which was a recent ranked reward, as well as this Black Cat Cruiser, which you can get, appears to be in the Spotlight shop, but in addition to that, you can get it in the All Clear pipe and one of those ranked token pipes. Otherwise, we see the Tanuki Kart buff. One of these Blazing Eagle cards got the buff here, as well as the Wildfire Flyer, which was the counterpart to the Ramby Runner. It would have been so nice to see the Ramby Runner on this course. I think for this one, we'll go with the small hitbox, since we have DK Jr., Triple Bananas, and we have the Sound Toward Glider in the middle shelf, which is a relief to see, because the thought of racing this course with a bottom shelf glider is quite intimidating. But we can see that the 8-bit Fireflower picked up another buff. So this is the #1 total course coverage glider in the game, and it's just adding to that total right now. But the Black Toe Beans has been in the standard selection for quite some time, so that is likely to be one that you are working with, unless the Lava Rocks is one that you picked up in the recent Bowser Tour. Okay, let's go into a run here. 150cc DK Jr. with the carry for ranked mode, right? Ooh, the colors look so lush here. This is probably my favorite track all time as far as Mario Kart is concerned. Ooh, we gotta go wide for the coins though. This is the first time I'm experiencing this track with coins. These bots, they just like take every advantage that they can. Got a little snipe action though. Okay, so wow, this is quite an open track. What's interesting is I used to be able to go down there in the GameCube version. It doesn't appear to be that we slow down at all. Unfortunately, there was a red shell that removed what I was going to use to get in first place here, but that's alright. This is my favorite part of the track though, this loop, and you used to be able to actually use a shroom and stop your brakes there. But look at that snipe action, very, very good. We'll back spam, get another hit. Fantastic. Ooh, coin frenzy there would have been nice. Or even a triple banana frenzy right here, right? Wings look good. Alright. Ooh, just avoided that. See, that is the small hitbox in effect. Can't always go for the large hitbox. It's always a matter of context, folks. Context, context, context. So we're not going to take the half pipes this time around since the bots are very aggressive, but if you do grind down all those badge bots, then we got the sound torn hit on the rolling rock there, which is cool. Alright, here's a frenzy. So this should take us through, give us a nice first place finish, hopefully. There we go. Barely 21K on that run. Definitely a hard course to combo because it's very long and the dimensions of the turns that you have to execute, especially if you are using the control scheme that I am, how it's set to steer, and then you're using the drift button on screen to perform those actions. It is quite demanding, but it's very possible. Practice can make perfect there. But we're going to be satisfied with that 21K score. All right. Very nice to see this track make it into Mario Kart Tour, even if it's just a little bit different than how we remember it. All right, let's just hit next and we'll talk about Dino Jungle RT. This is a Funky Kong track, so very friendly for free to play since you have all these super options: Monty Mole, Birdo, Hammer Bro, Red Yoshi, Green, Shy Guy, even Morton if you level up Morton all the way, and that's a plus skill in Giant Banana, so you can get a greater action count potential there. But of course we're going to be going with the Funky Kong. And then here, we have the Egg 1 cart, which is looking really, really good. That's probably the one that I would recommend if you're not invested into any of these high-end options, and to be honest, at the given moment, just that Tanuki cart is the only one that's of real significant value. So if you have high ends here, not a spot where you really want to be dropping high-end tickets. Go with your supers here. That's what they're meant for. And then we have the level 7 glider that's triple capped. I don't even know if I have the new triple cap base points on that yet. But you also have the high-end options with the Dragon Wings. It's a legacy optimal pick. No longer optimal, but it's pretty close at the given time. And that's the case. If you invest into something that's optimal now, very likely won't be optimal in the future, but it will be very, very close to that mark. All right, let's go in with Funky Kong, and this is where we expect to pull in our biggest score of this ranked cup. Fun track, fun track. Love Dino Jungle. And this one, I mean, you can see how this course from GameCube has really adapted better for Mario Kart Tour than the DK Mountain, just because the lines are very intuitive overall. Looks like we squashed that banana. They back spam the red, so we should be in the clear now. Yes, yes, yes. All right, very good. Oh, we don't have auto item on, but we got a frenzy anyway. Thank you. Wow, look at that. We didn't have an auto item on, but we got a banana frenzy because we rolled 2 bananas. That is possible, folks. I know that is something some folks in the community have stated they'd like to see for game balance, how if you didn't have top shelf, for example, then you could get a frenzy, but it would take 2 item rolls to do that, or 3 item rolls if you're on the bottom shelf, of course, which understandable why the game developers wouldn't want to do that. But That would make it a smidge more friendly in terms of that's all right. Oh, we got a good score cooking here. Don't ruin it in turn 4. Don't ruin it. Oh my goodness. Then we have a Mega Shroom. Oh, I think we dodged that, but we ended up losing placement. This is where it all disintegrates, right? We're gonna need some frenzy action here. Maybe a red shell frenzy? No. Rough crowd today with in turn 4, huh? Alright, let's see. I'm gonna try to make optimal use of the shroom here. And squeeze into second place, and maybe I can get a snipe here. Yes, look at that. What a way to finish, folks. Who says giant banana cannon is no good? Oh, that was clutch. That was clutch. 34K. That's a lot of fun. We got the giant banana hit off of the banana cannon. Or banana barrel, rather. So good. Alright, so now we are completely to the new triple cap for that super card. Very nice. So we should be at 55K now. And for the Riverside Park R, look at this. We have a super driver. Love to see these kind of buffs every once in a while. Interesting that it's the blue Koopa free running. I don't know how that's themed at all to Riverside Park. There's certainly many other ones that would theme better, but hey, look, you know what? We're going to be appreciative of that kind of access. Otherwise, you have Cat Rosalina, a bunch of these Miis, and Kangaroo Yoshi, who we'll be talking about in optimal combinations, as well as Tanuki Rosalina. So you're going to want to stay tuned for all of that key information on just where the direction of Mario Kart Tour and coverage and where your investment should be headed. We got a lot to talk about there, and we'll do that after this run. But we have the Rambi runner, so that's funny. They split up the Rambi from the Kungs. If you folks remember, those of you who've been with me for a while, when this cart was originally picking up buffs, I was so happy when they paired its buffs with the likes of Donkey Kong, the Super Vanilla Lake 1 RT, and when they did Frap Snowland RT, right, with DK Jr. And they haven't done that since they've actually put forth a concerted effort to split them apart, and I'm not a fan of that, not at all. But you know what? If they're trying to force investment out of other things, then you know how to control your own ecosystem in the game, right? It's a sandbox game. You don't fall for the traps. Otherwise, we have this brand new cart, right? This is the Moo Moo Off-Roader. Starting value on this is quite good, actually. 10 tracks, top of the mark there. Off-roaders have a fairly good track record. Even the ones that aren't great are still pretty good, but you know, does this one have a chance to make it big? Well, if it appears to be in a commemorative pack here, it does have a shot, a better shot than, for example, the red off-roader, which, you know, we kind of wrote off immediately. And, you know, the value of that isn't totally done, but, you know, the cost of entry does, you know, cause us to reflect on what could we see from these items, and commemorative items should, you know, possess some kind of a premium. Because if you're converting your real-world currency into an item in this game, you could do that through, you know, the premium challenges, and they'll give you like 15 rubies and all those high-end tickets. So if you're going to choose to use your real-world dollar and apply that to just a single item, you know, they should give you a little bit more. That's the way I see it. Anyway, we're going to go in with that Rambi runner, and then we have the white waves here. Other options, you have this Calico toe beans, which is new. The value on that, let's take a look at that. Starting with 10, so they're treating those items quite well. The Calico Parafoil, which has been in and out of optimal combinations, and we can kind of see why. It does have quite a few courses, but a lot of nitro courses, so it's all about the composition there that it's getting, and not quite that it's top of the mark in terms of course value overall. So if you don't have a top shelf there, you do have access to the Great Sale, which has been given away so many times there. So let's see what Riverside Park is all about. Oh, we love these GBA tracks, right? They do such a good job. Look at the aesthetic, the ambience on this. So good. Oh my goodness, I wish that they had put a Kong on one of these tracks, right? Dixie Kong has been totally MIA, and Funky Kong got the one battle course buff, but that's not saying much. It's really not, especially because it was New York Minutes. We'll have to see what they do for the exposure on that. Doesn't seem to be one that's going to be like a Twilight House, right? Anyway, love the vines that go over the top here. It's just so good. Setting sun there. I mean, that's the classic jungle aesthetic. Like, if they're going to ever do a DK Nitro course, like, do it like this, you know. Actually, even with the trees, you can make them like fully bathed in the shadows from the setting sun. And that would be like my ideal aesthetic here for a track. And then maybe have some hazards, right? Oh, that would be really cool. So it's like kind of difficult to see, so there's a challenge there. And look at that cheatery by the bot there. I missed the snipe. First missed snipe of the day, actually, but we're good. Yeah, we got it. They were trying to slipstream me. That's not going to work with the trailing shell. Alright, so we had that Ice Flower Frenzy, good enough for 17k. That should put us into this 70k range, right? If my quick maths works out there. Alright, so let's see where that takes us. But first we're going to claim some of these challenges. Okay, yeah, 72k. Look at that. Very nice. Okay, well, there you go. There's the ranked runs, and that's very friendly. Some very nice aesthetics. Oh, I still love the Dino Jungle though. Even though DK Mountain is my favorite track of all time, I feel like Dino Jungle really works well with this game. That's probably why it was released at launch. Who knows how long they've been sitting on some of these courses, right? Like, they could have had DK Mountain, all these assets of, I mean, outside of the trees with the faces, and they animate a little bit in the mountain. A lot of these assets have been on the books for a while, like the barrel and the half pipes and whatnot. So let's take a look at the shop real quick, and then we'll bounce it over and talk about that optimal coverage. All right, so week 1, you have Tanuki Mario and the Tanuki Kart. So these are old items. And then your week 2 spotlight shop will have the Kitsune Luigi along with the camouflage Tanuki Kart there. And look, they're offering us Yoshi Kangaroo there, as well as the DK Maximum. What was the buff that this one picked up? Okay, DK Mountain RT and DK Mountain R. So those are the other two that DK Jr. had picked up. And then, yeah. So the Me Racing suit lineup for this tour, we have the debut of the Cat Me Racing suit. But once again, folks, we look at the value on this. Look at this, multiple Paris, Amsterdam, right? And then the Tokyo Blurs that it picked up too, and the New York Minute. So this is littered with that city value, and it really calls into question, are you going to be investing into these Miis for the specific one that you're picking up, or are you doing that to power up just a select few? And if you're doing that, understand that the context is that's only optimal for resources if you've spent in excess of $1,000 in this game, right? So we're talking a very high strata of player. And if you're following along with that and not the kind of player that invests like that, it's extremely suboptimal, folks. It's important to study the effects of the ecosystem and understand where your play style lands in the great terrain that this game offers, and avoid the pitfalls and do it the right way, okay? I always talk about responsible gameplay. If you're a premium player here, that's the right move to do, because if you've had a lifetime, over 250 high-end tickets with which to wield, then yeah, certainly across the entire coverage map of Mario Kart Tour, this is confirmed through a Turtle Dude's data that he had shared with me, then yes, it's going to recommend that you use Me Racing suits and Coinbox drivers. But as your ticket counts reduce. So this is a good example to provide you folks with this, right? If we look at my ticket counts, I've barely used any tickets lifetime in playing Mario Kart Tour across several years, right? And I'm completely free to play. So these are my ticket counts: 76, 64, 66. Okay, so if we pull out some of the ones that I've used on Dixie and DK Jr. and whatnot, right? Funky Kong, those are the only 3 I've ever put tickets on. Then, you know, we're looking somewhere around 90, okay? And certainly if I was maximizing this, I could have been buying every tier shop one. So, you know, maybe low 100s lifetime, that I would have been maximum achievable for free to play. That's not gonna favor investment into any Mii racing suits, okay? And it's only going to pull out the most elite of the boomerang coin box drivers and whatnot for that situation. And certainly if you're someone that's already well invested and it's hard for you to get tickets now, you're going to look more towards the coverage superstars that we'll be talking about momentarily. So unless you're at that nosebleed level, you know, that's not the best way to do it, unless of course the Miis are your jam, right? If that's something you really love and enjoy, then you could do that in a suboptimal fashion, just the way that, you know, I've played with the Kongs, right? It's not an optimal way to play, but if that's what you enjoy, if that's how the experience is the richest for you, then by all means. But it's about educating the advantages and disadvantages of every single strategy that's out there, and that's what we talk about here on the channel. So if this is news to you, drop a subscription with the channel, and there's going to be more content for you to learn more about that stuff. Okay, we didn't check out the daily selects. We got a little distracted there. Okay, well, we have a Shy Guy. What else is new on that? Oh, they did a DK balloon. So this is what they do now, right? They're like, oh, you're not going to get the character, but we'll put that little sticker on the basic red balloon that doesn't have base points. It doesn't do anything. And that's what you do, right? Oh, that's missing the mark. It's missing the mark, folks. Anyway, let's go over to the coverage optimizer tool, and we'll start off with drivers, right? That is what pulls at the heartstrings. That's what gets us to want to invest. So we're going to be talking a little bit also about the effect of not having a brand new character being brought in for the Kong fans, right? Like, let's say if you're not a Kong fan and you're like, oh, I just wish I would stop hearing these people talk about it. Well, let's talk about what Mario Kart Tour looks like as a game if, you know, you don't have access to that stuff. But we'll start off with driver size of 1, and there's a lot to talk about here because for the longest time we had Peach Explorer the Queen as the #1 driver in terms of course coverage, and there she is. She still is the queen, but she's sharing her throne now. Look at this Tanuki Rosa, who we put out the value alert for before her pipe even debuted. We knew the composition of that pipe ahead of time, and we said put a big star next to her because she will get there, and she has. She's gotten there. Ah, so good. And the reason for that is because she picked up the Riverside Park RT. You can see it right there. So that is what propelled her up to 30 total courses at level 6. I'm doing these scans for level 6 because that is the optimal point to take your inventory, okay? You can go to 7 and 8 with the foundations of your account. You'd be wholly justified in doing so. Just beware that the ROI on those investments is lower overall. All right, so now we'll increase it to driver combo size of 2 and see what happens, because we had a change here. So what I'm going to do with this optimal coverage for now and in the future is I'm only going to go over the ones that have changed. So that's going to be a continuation then in the series, the last of which was when Gold PD Piranha debuted, right? When I provided the guide for coverage in Mario Kart Tour. I'll leave a link in the description below for that video, as well as providing the coverage optimizer tool itself, so that the combinations that I don't scan for on this video, you can run through it yourself, gain a little bit of experience points there in fueling your own pursuits and using this tool in the future to learn what those were. So either way, if you want to watch my video to hear my context on that, I'll leave the link in both a card in the description below, as well as the tool itself. So right here we had a big change. Peach Explorer was previously the best duo, but with Penguin Mario. So we have DK Jr., he got the promotion, right? Oh, that's so nice to see him getting that. And that's because DK Jr. picked up, he was listed as #1, right? Because he's earlier in the alphabet, yes. So we see 3 DK mountains. So it picked up regular DK mountain, the RT, and the R variant. And those 3 courses brought it up to optimal coverage. It booted back Penguin Mario to just, Penguin Mario is still in there, right? Because Penguin Mario and DK Jr. pair extremely well themselves, just not to the same extent as that of Peach Explorer. So we'll see when we go to the next combo size that Penguin Mario will be there, but also Dr. Peach will be there too. And what's very interesting too is that Tanuki Rosa also pairs equally well with DK Jr. So between Peach Explorer and Tanuki Rosa, that's going to fare just as well with DK Jr. And this is valuable because you might view Tanuki Rosa as one that pairs better with the plus special skills, and if that's the case, then you want to choose that pathway as opposed to the Peach Explorer one. Of course, look at your own inventory and where your investments are made, and then you can figure out, you know, the best branch to take for your own investment progression there. And then also the Tanuki Rosa and the Meowser combination still stands in top duos, which is really, it was extraordinary the last time that it came about, and each of those picked up a buff. We can see here that Meowser, being number 1, picked up the DK Mountain. We saw him in the loadouts there with Gold Chuck, right? And then the Tanuki Rosa has the Riverside Park R, which we observed before. So each of those picking up 1 course elevated it up the ladder. So now let's go to 3 and talk about what's changed here. Okay. So what we have is there's the Penguin Mario as advertised, but Dr. Peach is in there as well. And what's interesting here is we can see it says go back, but we're not going to click on go back just yet. That means that the scan is done, right? And there's no Meowser and Tanuki Rosa. So in the last time I did this, there was a trio along with Daisy Swimwear. The reason why that is no longer optimal, that's going to be at 78 out of 245 courses. And it's because DK Jr. picked up 3 courses and Tanuki and Meowser each picked up 1 non-overlapping course each, so that's +2. So it's going to be at 78 out of 245 for that combination there. And you can see how dynamic the situation plays out, right? So it's like, don't ever just be chasing like this is optimal now because it's going to change, right? And then it's going to be suboptimal if you're using your tickets on investing into those things. It's better to just pick a pathway that matches your desired play style and then commit to it, right? It's what I've done here on the channel. And you might say, like, look, they've taken very good care of Donkey Kong Jr., right? Like, and they certainly have. They gave him great exposure for this tour, just as they did for King Boo Luigi's Mansion, for the Boo Lake tracks, and they did for Daisy characters in the Daisy Cruiser tour, for the Ocean tour, which was maybe one of the best tours of all time, quite frankly, because not only did they bring in a new retro course with Daisy Cruiser, they also surprise dropped Singapore Speedway 2, which was a gorgeous representation of that course. And they didn't just do that, but they brought in new character representation for Daisy, right? We had Sailor Daisy, we had Toadette Sailor as well. So it was giving multiple character interests and new pathways. And they've certainly taken care of DK Jr. very well here. So he will be in optimal combinations, at least for the foreseeable future still. But the problem is, if this isn't like, hey, a Diddy Kong alt, right? Or Cranky Kong, for instance, well, you know, DK Jr. isn't going to pick up 2 or 3 tracks next tour like one of those would do, right? So if you're looking at playing with a specific set of characters, then this is a good tour to play, but the subsequent tours aren't good, right? So it's important for Nintendo to fulfill the character interests for not just the Kongs, right? I mean, the Kongs are a big one, very vocal part of the player base, but you also have Wario. There hasn't been a high-end Toad since February 2021. Pauline, the Koopas, King Boo, right? Well, I mean, the list goes on, and I've stated it numerous times there, but that's what they're doing. That's why their economy is retracting. If you look at the revenue numbers over time, it is showing a very predictable outcome there. That's the way I'll put it, right? Anyway, we're going to go to drivers for combo size 4 here. And in this one, we are going to go back to Fire Rosalina here. And we also have Penguin Mario. So that's what we're looking at here. Once again, Meowser isn't being included in the optimal combinations, but he's just one off. Rest assured, we're going to see Meowser come back in for some of the larger combo sizes. And that's where it's important not to place too much stock into any one specific combo size, because over time your inventory is going to be growing. So you'll get the most efficiency at smaller combo sizes, but you are going to have to fill it out. So that's why it's valuable to look at the entire lineup from small to big in that situation. So now we're going to go to driver size 5 and see what's changed here. Okay, so we see the Dr. Peach Fire Rosa combination here. And this is where Meowser comes back into play. And we see that this is actually quite a nice combination, because you have Daisy Swimwear, who's triple bananas, borderline plus skill. You know, same thing with DK Jr. Dr. Peach isn't a plus skill, but you have the Meowser, right? So if you're looking for good scoring potential in addition to course coverage, that is a very appealing pathway with which to take. And we see that King Boo Luigi's Mansion is holding up his end of the bargain in terms of optimal coverage there. And now, nothing changed with the combination size for 6 from the last one, so we're going to go to 7. And this is the point where we'll take a look to see what they did with Kangaroo Yoshi, right? Alright, so the first combo is up, and we see that it still has the Peach Halloween being brought in. And that is holding steady from the previous one. And then the next combination, we have Meowser with King Boo Luigi's Mansion. Very appealing for a mixture. It's just crazy in the community, right? He likes the King Boo alts, his favorite character, but he also goes in on those plus skills, so that is a good pathway if you're that kind of player that's mixing and matching the way that you're going about things. And then right here we have Kangaroo Yoshi. So this is the first time that he's been in the optimal combinations, outside of looking at just specifically plus skills, because certainly Kangaroo Yoshi has been top of the mark in terms of plus skill coverage with that boomerang. But we can see here number 7 picked up Riverside Park R and Riverside Park N. So 2 buffs put it into position here for this, and I'd imagine that will be a position that will be held quite steadily there. Alright, now let's go over to the carts, and the combinations have held steady with carts through all the smaller combinations. The yellow off-roader is still king, picked up some more buffs, so it's not going to be knocked off its perch anytime soon. The armored rider did not get any buffs, but it's still forming that optimal trio with the gold pumpkin cart. And the Rambi, despite having picked up 2 cards, didn't see an increase in its optimal course coverage overall, because one of them overlaps with the yellow off-roader there, which is a little bit unfortunate. So what we're going to pick up is cart combination size of 6, and we're going to see some fascinating little changes here. And there you have it, as well as the B-Dasher MK2 is conserved as well. But we have the Magma Broom, which picked up some buffs, and we'll check those out as soon as the other combos are being done written. These other ones had previously existed for combination size of 6, but what is worth noting is that by the Rambi runner picking up additional courses, it removes the Black Dozer from equally optimal combinations, since the Black Dozer was a Rambi runner alternative, and that did not receive the buffs. So let's take a look now at what the Magma Broom picked up, number 4. So let's scroll down to number 4, and we can see here that it picked up DK Mountain RT. And that is what allows it to be in this combination. Now let's go back and take a look at the change that occurred at combination size of 7. All right, here we go. For combination size 7, we see that the Wild Black, one of the year 1 superstars, has formed optimal combinations, and the rest of this is very, very conserved. We've seen these cards in the combinations time and time again. That gold cheap charger, the prop cart, and We see the Rose Taxi is there in an alternative pathway, but very interesting to see this Wild Black number 6. That means it picked up the DK Mountain RT. So just like the Magma Broom there. And what's interesting is in this situation, we see they picked up the same course. The Magma Broom is absent, right? And that's because the Wild Black's other courses, probably in combination, present one additional course, and does the Magma Broom with the addition of the other options that are available here, such as that prop cart and the Gold Chief Charger. So very fascinating to take in the entire web of coverage. That's why I call it a web, because it doesn't matter necessarily what happens to one specific item. Like we saw Dr. Peach in the drivers become elevated because of DK Jr.'s elevation. So her favorable pairing with DK Jr. allows her exposure to be even sooner and in smaller combination sizes overall. So it's a very dynamic situation. It's fun to follow. Now, in terms of the gliders, we have a lot of consistency. The 8-bit Fireflower is still number 1. Picked up more courses. We saw the DK Mountain, right? So all paths still lead through the 8-bit Fireflower. If you're looking to form your account with a foundation and a single glider, that's going to be the best one for you now and in the foreseeable future. But we're looking at other combination sizes of gliders to see what's changed, right? Because the Optimal Duo was then the Wonderful Wings along with that, and the Wonderful Wings has been very powerful in year 3, presumably into year 4 now, since that's where we're at. But the change occurred in the top trio of gliders. We can see that this is the single recommendation now. There is no alternative pathway with the Golden Wings and the other 8-bit gliders. It is purely the 8-bit Fireflower, the Dry Bowser Umbrella, which is like the 2nd generation to those Dragon Wings, and the Wonderful Wings. But it does become more dynamic as we increase the combo size. So let's try out combo size 4 and see what changes occurred there. All right, so here we see it's being paired with the 8-bit Super Mushroom, as well as the Dry Bowser Umbrella and Wonderful Wings. And this is where we see that older combo come into the foreground, and that's because of the ship's wheel, right? The coverage that presents when it becomes a quartet versus a trio is able to equal that. So the ship's wheel is then adding 1 course coverage additional to this combo than the 8-bit Super Mushroom is doing for that first combination, right? And this is where you can begin to see how mixing and matching changes over time, and how it does so as you add more items and comparing that between the combinations themselves. And what's interesting here is we have the Rose Parasol now. That is replacing the Galaxy Glider, so that is worth noting. Let's take a look at the course that it picked up here. We see DK Mountain T. That is the new course that it picked up. So the Rose Parasol has one-upped the Galaxy Glider. And then we also have this combination down here, which is quite interesting because as the Candlelight Flight Wonderful Wings combination, which was so powerful in terms of ranked usage overall. So this is one that a lot of folks are likely to be invested into. The Bright Balloons was initially paylocked from the 2021 Yoshi Tour. In the Yoshi Tour this year, which was a part of the 2.5-year celebration, it was available in a 100 pipe, and we'll have to see when that becomes available in the daily spotlights selection. But certainly if it's still as good as it is now next year around the Yoshi Tour's time, then that will be one to consider picking up. But for the moment, it's been pretty exclusive. And let's go ahead now and take a look at glider combo size of 5. This is the last one where there was any changes. So combination size 6 and 7 are identical to the last time that I generated the report. And in this one, it is again because of this Rose Parasol. So that is the change. And that was as a result, once again, we will see here for the DK Mountain T. All right, and with that, we conclude the report of the optimal list for Mario Kart Tour as of the Animal Tour in 2022. I do hope you all appreciate the context and look at this data. If it does, please show your support, leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more of this kind of content. Thank you so much. Now, let's swing it back over to the app and let's race on some of the other DK mountains, right? See what kind of flair we can. Oh, the Charge and Chuck Cup. That looks interesting. Yes. So we'll take a look real quick at the loadouts for week 2. You know, you have Choco Mountain RT. That's a coin box track with Tuxie, and Gold Chuck ended up overlapping it, as well as now you have the original Charge and Chuck. So this is a Blackbirdo, but it is a Ramby course, and it's one that's overlapped with the yellow off-roader there. So the Ramby's a higher level on my account, and then the Silver Star Shoot, which is not optimal, but it was back in its heyday. 8-bit Bolt Bill there, just recently removed from optimal, so that's one that a lot of folks are likely to be invested into. Otherwise, these aren't really ones that you want to be invested into, but we do see the bright balloons there as well, so quite exclusive glider. Those are your top picks there. Quite a decent loadout. So we have a 375 on this one. Riverside Park RT. I'm not going to do runs on these because I'm not sure. I'm going to wait till the tour preview for the next time to see what I want to do with my own situation in the game, right? That's how I recommend going about things, you know. Go at your own pace and control your own outcomes that way. Riverside Park RT, we have recent ranked rewards with Gold PD Piranha, and we have the Orange Yoshi. A lot of people got throttled out of that, which was disappointing to see. That's part of the aggressiveness that I talk about, and you can control your ecosystem to a point where you can obtain rewards. The thing is, we've been talking about this more in the community, is that a lot of players who are higher tier, like for example, a lot of folks out there, such as Nap, one of the troop leader, thank you so much for the support that you provide the community, particularly through the live streams. Nap was there with me as we got the news on the Animal Tour, and we saw there was no Kong ult. So thank you so much for spending that time with me, Nap, and wonderful member in the community. But anyway, he's been doing some of the sandbagging approach, right? Like if the environment isn't fertile for which you can have forward mobility, not pushing against the gradient, taking a step back, right? Reducing your playtime, not playing ranked for a week. It's okay. You're not going to lose any progress, folks. Tiers go up to 99, right? There's been over 170 weeks of Mario Kart Tour at the time when tier 99 becomes available, right? So if you are at that leading edge, as we would say, right? If you're right at the front of the line, then you're going to be held up there for quite some time. So it's like, does it matter if you get the results now or later? Not really, folks. So, but the thing is that when you are at such a great tier to begin with, the sandbagging has a diminished effect, and that's because you still require strong inventory, right? You climbed that much further up the mountain, right? That's where it is kind of ideal. If you want to implement this kind of strategy, strongly recommend doing so. You know, it's some of the more middling tiers, and you can still enjoy the game, pull the resources you want, and then you take a lot of the stress out of it too, right? Anyway, we have all level 1s here, so we go with Gold PD, and you have the yellow off-roader. So heavyweight coin box driver with the largest size hitbox Kart there, and then the Starry Great Sail picked up a buff, so no longer optimal. You can see I'm invested into this one. So this is the consequence then, and this is a good discussion point actually, because it's like, if you put all your eggs in a basket, and it's like, well, no, it's no longer the best, so am I upset? Not at all, because the reason why I did this, you have to weigh your factors for why you make investments, right? It's not because, oh, it's the best now, because what's the best now is never going to be what's the best later. The reason why I did this was because the Kong overlaps, right? So it was to maximize the score on the courses, the characters that I enjoy playing with. Another reason why it would be valuable for Nintendo to bring in more of these character interests, because suddenly now you don't just need that character, right? Because it's a one-off. If they did Cranky Kong, there's not going to be a Cranky Kong ult and blah blah blah. Okay, so it's only going to require so many of your rubies and tickets for that, but now you need to cover that with cards and gliders, and you're incentivized to do so. So Row Raceway T, Funky Kong Row Raceway R, DK Jr., Dixie Kong, right? And we see here Cheap Cheap Lagoon, Dixie Kong, Cheap Cheap Island, DK Jr., Cheap Cheap Island R, Funky Kong. I mean, again and again and again, RMX Vanilla Lake 1R is Dixie Kong. So, you know, we can go LA Laps RT, even the Nitro there is Funky Kong. So, Yeah, and the level unlock is another Dixie Kong. So very robust coverage for the Kongs overall, and that's why I did it. So it's optimal for the lens that I would go through my own coverage at. But since there's no growth for that, it's not like I can't walk the walk. I'm just talking the talk. I'm talking you through what you do with your experience, okay? I think it would be valuable if, I would be one of their best ambassadors, because it's like, wow, very conservative player, strategic minded. This is how you go ahead and do it. But you can't show it because they don't make it. Anyway, that's a very good loadout as well. And DK Mountain RT. So there's the buff, of course, to DK Jr. And there's the Kitsune Luigi that's going to be in the week 2. And you also have the Tanuki Mario and the Fire Rosa there, as well as the plus skill with Night Luigi there. And the DK Maximum is what got paired. So that's nice to see. It's in the Spotlight shop, as we can tell by that icon there. Not a good one to invest into. This did not get anywhere near the kind of favor that the DK Jr. got. You can see it's mostly nitros that it picked up there, which it did save me a couple of times, so we're thankful about that. But yeah, here's the cart that's paired with that Luigi Camo Tanuki cart, and it starts off with 9, so you can see the premium then given to those commemoratives. Will that play out in the long term though? Usually the early lifespan value does project, at least historically in Mario Kart Tour, but they've changed their ecosystem, so that's something that we're in the early days of the Spotlight shop, so we can't provide a definitive conclusion on that. Otherwise, you see there's the brown off-roader picking up a buff there, but brown off-roader is not significant in terms of optimal coverage, and no glider again, so very difficult glider coverage for the DK Mountains, which is interesting because this is a hard one to keep comma with, so very deliberate. You can see this is how Mario Kart Tour conducts its paywall. So we have the level 2 Dragon Wings, but it's in the middle shelf, so you're not getting bonus points boost for that. Okie dokie. To finish up, I'll race in today's challenge. Fire off that pipe, and then we'll see what we can launch from the Tour Gift pipes. At least as many of those as we can fire. What is this screen? Pop your opponent's balloons, hit your with items. Has this always appeared? I don't know. Looks new to me. Even the first time I played battle mode, that did not appear. So maybe they feel like I need help in battle mode. I'm not the only one, folks. I'm not the only one. Oh, that's the first time I got a hit with a shroom on one of those. Very nice. And backspam that. I miss playing this track with DK Jr. though. This should be Junior here. They're trying to sell me on the Cappy Racing suit. It's like, I'm not invested for a grand in this game. Sorry, Nintendo. Not gonna happen. Oh, we missed the item box too. So if you want to stow out your actions, you can just go in a circle like this. Boom, boom, boom. You see how it works? I mean, and this is where single player battle mode, it's hit or miss with players, right? Because you could just do this all day long. And granted, you're not going to get frenzies though, so you want to optimize this with a loop where you can be getting the item boxes and whatnot. But I mean, that's how you can just extend your combo out. So we just dropped it going for the item box because I haven't mastered the battle mode yet. But that's all right. I do like how they have the new icon. You can see 4th place out of 8th currently. But we had a lot of takedowns, so I feel like we should have done better than that. 3rd out of 8th. I guess they'll always list us in last place, even though we still picked up the item bar there. That's nice. We'll get a hit on that. Okay. Still have 2 balloons. That's rare. Usually they start spamming me here. We got stuck there, but that's quite alright because we avoided the super balloon by doing so. Oh, that is not nice. That is not nice, Nintendo. And that's probably one of the key frustrations is that the eliminated players just fire stuff like you saw the Bob-omb there. And that's, to speed up the game and make it more difficult. I guess the other side got hit. But has ruined a couple of really good runs on some of the opportunities I've had to actually, sink my teeth into battle mode. So that's always a bit unfortunate. Anyway, Wasn't eagle-eyeing the totals here, so I'm in the dark. What will this be? Just a normal glider, okay. Now let's do the tour gifts, and what is worth noting, this is another Nintendo moment, right folks? The high ends for these pipes. Okay, so these green pipes have a 6% high-end chance, or I should say they did have a 6% high-end chance, because according to data miners, it's now down to 3%. 1% for driver, 1% for cart, and 1% for glider on your high-end chance. So probably gonna be a greenie, yep. There you go, it's a Wendy. All right, so you know what I will do though? I want to race the DK Mountain R, because you know I love the R versions of tracks, and that is a DK Junior track. And that will give us more Grand Stars with which to fire off that final pipe. So this is it, we're into overtime now. Look at this, oh, the Planet Glider. I bought this from the tier shop because I was like, someday, you know, someday. Someday is now, I guess, right? You never know, right? But here's the thing, don't do that with your rubies. That was back in the days of coins, right? Oh wow, it's cool to see the bridge up front. Yeah, this is why I like R tracks in Mario Kart Tour. So unique. Ooh, we got slaughtered on that. Not very friendly. Oh, we drifted out of slipstream range. So yeah, I mean, I've read in the discussions, some people are like, oh, N is much better than R is much better than N. I mean, people land differently on this stuff, but it's literally the same contours. It's just the way how, you know, we perceive the line, right, on an individual level. So no difference between the two. Outside of some of the schematic things that are different, such as the cannon being on top there, but otherwise these lines are the same. It's just mini turboing the other way, right? And hopefully somebody picks up a lightning so I can get some action here, but we're gonna have to hit Big DK. Sorry about that, buddy. Just returning the favor of all of your unfriendly friends, right? So here we go. This is gonna increase the score, but I'm gonna have trouble getting first place on this. I can tell you right now, that's gonna be a problem. Just avoided the banana there. Yeah, look at these lines that they take. They take that ultra multiplayer line there. It is fun going back up the mountain though. I think the only reason why I'm not truly satisfied with this course, I mean, that is cool coming down there like that. Visually, it's amazing, but the bot aggressiveness is just, I mean, this is one of the things that is really hampering Mario Kart Tour. I mean, it's equal for all of us, so it's not like, oh, my experience is that much worse than yours. No, you know, you're finishing, you know, 4th and 5th place unless you are really trying to win the race for the whole entire time. And of course, it takes some time to get the lines down too, but yeah, that's rough. And then here's something that I've talked about before on some of my streams on Discord. For bonus content, join the Discord server. Link will be in the description below. Get my thoughts on other things pertaining to Mario Kart Tour. But what I do have to say here, for the Sunday tour, I had so much fun doing the XP draining for Sky High Sunday. And the reason for that is because once you cleared out the badge spots, they were permanently gone. I do think that's a very friendly and welcoming atmosphere with which Mario Kart Tour can play. You might say that the badge spots are helpful on some tracks, and they are, particularly for certain skills, right? Like triple bananas, giant banana, Lucky 7. It's good to have some badge spots in play, right? And even, you know, boomerang, perhaps, you know, to have that middle of the road kind of placement. Not too many, especially with boomerang, because you do need to catch up at some point, whereas with the banana skills, that kind of is inherently achieved through the banana accuracy hits. But, you know, perhaps even making it so that, okay, once you clear out the badge spots once, the next time you go in, you'll have a few, and then they're permanently removed after you complete that race. So each, you know, after each hour when it resets, then, you know, they will give you a race with badge spots. But then after that one race, so you don't have to keep investing 20, 30 minutes in to clear these things out. It's just, you know, that really takes away from the enjoyment when the bots are this aggressive, right? Only when they're this aggressive. So if they're gonna make it this aggressive, that's fine, right? Nobody has a problem with that necessarily. It's the fact that you're repeatedly bombarded by that experience over and over again. And I think that's where they can really improve the game. And just, there's so many areas where that can be done, but I think that's important to a lot of players out there because it's one that I've heard repeatedly there. So here's our pipe hole. Let's see, can we end maybe with a Diddy Kong? That would be nice. Oh, a plaid ribbon, but we did pick this up before. It was in something or another. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this look at the animal tour, the coverage, the tracks. Oh, there's a great course selection, not just the Dino Jungle, but you also have the Rock Mountain in play too. So enjoy these tracks, and I'll be seeing you for more Mario Kart Tour content, everyone. Have a good one.